We're going to work on some bow movements, some staff movements. But the first thing that I want to talk about is our forward stance. So traditionally in our can-ryu style, we've talked about a ready stance, a defensive stance, a fighting stance, and a horse stance. So now I want to introduce the forward stance to you. So our forward stance is going to be one shoulder width wide and two shoulder widths long. So I'm going to have my front leg here with my knee slightly bent so I can see the tip of my toes. My rear leg is going to be straight with my foot pointing towards the front or a 45-degree angle. So in this position here. My hips are going to be off to the side rather than being square this way, off to the side. If I was doing this in a traditional manner, I would do this with my low block on either side, this way here. But again, what I want you to think about, and we'll get back to, is having a good deep forward stance. So this is going to be our regular forward stance. And then we'll also talk about a long forward stance, which is simply moving this foot a little bit longer and again keeping that straight up and down posture. So our regular forward stance and our long forward stance. Here's how we're going to hold our bow. I want to cut it in thirds. So I don't want to be too far down on one side. I want to make sure that I'm at the middle with my arms shoulder width apart. So this is how we're going to hold the bow. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a overhead 45-degree angle strike. So to begin with, I'm going to take my left hand, I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to bring my right hand up beside my head. So almost like I'm pointing the bow at my opponent or at my target. So I'm bringing it up here. Now what I'm going to do is with my rear hand is I'm going to cut across the top and striking down on a 45. So from here, up, down. From here, up, down. Whichever hand is coming up is going to be palm towards the side of my head, and I cut across. If I was doing this on the other side, I would bring it up this way. See, the palm is facing my head, and I cut across this way. 1 and 2. Now, at the end of the strike, one of the things I want you to think about is your hand position. So instead of having the hand facing up, I want you to think of having the hand, and I'm rolling it over this way. As you know, the weakest part in your grip is between the thumb and the finger, so I want you to roll that over. So 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Now, we're going to include that with our stance. So from our ready stance, I'm going to move my foot and bring my hand up. From here, together. So if I'm going to be striking down across on the right, I bring my right foot up. Now as I move forward into my forward stance, I cut down and across. So I bring my foot up, and as I do that, my other leg is flexed through. Up and through. Up and through. If I was doing this on the opposite side, I would do the same thing. Up and through. Up and through. That's our high 45-degree angle strike. This next strike that we're going to talk about is a high rib strike. So with the bow out this way here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift. I'm going to take my left hand and place it under my right armpit. But I'm going to take this hand and bring it over and across. So we're here and across. Now, I'm going to take the rear end of the bow and bring it across to the other side. So I lift, across, lift, and across. Up, twirl under one arm, and then same thing on the other side. So I lift, 1, 2. 1 and 2. Now we can reverse our hands And essentially we're doing the same thing on the other side. So coming up and across, up and across. Okay. So from here, I lift, turn at the rib cage height, bring it across, rib cage height. So that's our high rib cage strike. So this time we're going to talk about a thrusting strike. So we're going to come back to our forward stance and holding the bow in this position. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my long forward stance. So from here, I'm going to drive this leg forward. And again, keeping posture, keeping nice and tall, I'm going to retract the bow slightly as I drive it forward. Now, as you drive it forward and I'm punching forward with the tip, I want you to think of rotating that front hand. I'm rotating the bow in. So we've cut across and I drive through. We've cut across, drive through. So we're in this position, I retract and drive. Retract and drive. If I'm on the other side, same idea, retract and drive through. Making sure that that front hand is rolled over. So that's our front thrusting strike. The next strike we're going to do is our 4-point combination strike. So from this position, we start with the bow under one arm. We uppercut 1, down 2, across the body 3, and across the body 4. So once again, we punch up for 1, down for 2, across the body for 3, and across for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be done on the other side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could do this from our forward stance. So from this position, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when we're doing it from this position, I want you to think of engaging the hip. 1, 2, 3, 4. So whenever we're striking, I'm turning the hip forward, and then I'm retracting the hip back, driving the hip forward, and retracting the hip back. So one last time, this is our 4-point strike. So we start under the arm, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Our next one is an uppercut. So from this position, I'm going to rotate and strike here. So I rotate out and back. Rotate out and back. And I'm starting in my forward stance, but I can finish here in kind of more of a back stance. And a back stance with my feet in an L position, about 60% of the weight on the rear leg and 40% on the front leg. So I'm much lighter on this front leg. So again, from here, I roll out and back in. And you'll notice that my hand, my biceps are up. So here, this hand stays close to the body, and I lift here. 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 All right, this time we're going to put those movements into one sequence. And this is about 10 movements in this sequence. So we're going to start from our ready stance. I'm going to begin coming to this position, and the first strike we're going to do is our 45-degree high strike. So 1 and 2. And then into our front thrust. 3. From this position, I'm going to go into my high rib strike. So across. 4, 5. Now into our 4-point combination. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'm going to retract into our block. So one more time, we come up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, we're going to do it on the opposite side as well. So I change my hand grip. So I step up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that is a short sequence that you can practice in order to get all of these movements